part dos. So we have put our ingredients in, we've made our dough, and my beeper just went off. I could not time that better. And now we're going to learn what to do with the dough. So remember from part 1, I don't bake my dough in the bread machine. I get perfect dough in there. Can I bake it in there, and do I sometimes? Yes. Do I as a general rule? No, because I like the control over the dough. So now that it's done, we're going to pull it out. I'm going to bring it over here and show you guys how I finish it up. And we'll just do that. So I'm just going to get the dough out. I'll show you what it looks like. So here we go. So this is just our dough. It has done its rise. So this is it, what it looks like when it has it smells so good. I love that yeasty smell. So we're going to pour the dough out onto a clean surface. I use a cutting board. You can use whatever. Then we're going to, this is important, I use USA baking pans. These have seen better days, but they still work great. This brand, USA, are steel coated aluminum. Okay, I know people are like, aluminum, that's really bad. It's steel coated. Okay, so the aluminum is inside because it's a good conductor, and the steel is on the outside. And then it has a coating called Americoat, which is actually a natural silicone coating, so nothing sticks to these. I don't have to grease my loaf pans. So you're going to notice that I put the bread in my loaf pans, and I don't grease because I don't need to with these pans. If you are using a glass or any other type of metal pan, then you want to grease the insides with a little bit of coconut oil before you put your dough in there. But I don't have to do that. The link for these pans, if you are on YouTube, is down below. If you're watching on IGTV, you'll have to send me a message and I can shoot you the link. But there are knockoffs, so make sure that this is the logo that you're looking for. USA pan, Amazon has them, Bed Bath & Beyond has them, but a lot of places will have knockoffs. You don't want knockoffs. Trust me there, they don't work as good. So those are 8-inch, 1-pound loaf pans. So that's what you're looking for, is an 8-inch, 1-pound loaf, because this recipe from Bread Bakers makes a 2-pound loaf. So that's how I'm able to take this 2-pound loaf and divide it into 2 smaller 1-pound loaves. Okay, so here we go. Here's my dough. I'm just going to turn it out. Ta-da! See? All of it comes out except a little bit that's left on the paddles. So I just pull that off. That's all that's left in the bottom. And I literally just wipe this out with a dishcloth. And now here's our dough. Let me scoot this back just a little bit. Okay? So then I'm just going to pull it all together. Pull it together. Till it's nice. See, I'm just pulling it in and turning it around. And then I'm going to flip it over. So it is a nice, beautiful dough. Sometimes I just like to smack it. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm using a bench scraper. You can get these just about anywhere. I've used this same one. I like it because I can get up under stuff and scrape it. I can chop veggies. I can pick out veggies, but this is what I use to cut all my dough with. So it's just called a bench scraper. B-E-N-C-H, just clarifying that. And I'm just going to cut this in half. You guys, I don't do anything that's hard. I just eyeball it. If it looks good, we go with it. Also, I know a lot of recipes for bread are like, roll out the dough with your rolling pin and then roll it up into a... No, I don't have time for that. I choose not to make time for that. So once I get it into 2 pieces that look about the same size, I just fix mine so that it looks like a loaf. And I've done this for years and it always turns out well. So I figure I'm probably doing something right. So I'm just pulling it up and over, pressing it down until it looks about like that on the bottom. And then when I flip it over, it looks like a nice loaf. I just drop it down in my pan. That's it. We'll do the other one. Pulling it in, making it into a loaf shape. I can tell this one is just a little bit bigger than the other one. That doesn't bother me. Kind of like boobs. One is sometimes bigger than the other. They still both work. Then we put them down in the pan. Also, I should have warned you guys, you never know what I'm going to talk about on my live videos ever. So there we go. Now they're in your loaf pan. Now what? You should have your oven on to 350 to be preheating. So mine is on at 350. I know you can't see that far away. I always put my loaf pans on top of the oven to rise for that final rise before you bake. How long does it take? It depends. I'd love to tell you guys it's 30 minutes. It's 23. If your house is cold, it will take longer. If you don't rise them on top of your oven, it will take longer. It is winter right now, and I have my oven on, and we have a wood stove. Our wood stove is going, so it's fairly warm inside of our house, so this won't take long at all to rise over there on top of the oven. Your goal is for it to rise double, so in this pan, it will be nice and rounded over the top. If it gets too high, so if you ever bake your bread and it comes out and it deflates and kind of falls after it comes out of the oven, you let your bread rise too high, cut back on your rise time the next time, and see if you can get your bread to not when it comes out of the oven. Because what happens is it rises so high, it cannot support itself, and so it caves back in. So it has to be able to still support itself. So for me, as you can see from the side, mine will be, it will rise to the top of the pan and be rounded over and look like a pretty loaf shape. And that for me in a warm house takes about 25 minutes. So I'm gonna go over here. I just put them like this. I cover them with a tea towel. The tea towels just don't have lint or anything like that. And I just leave them there until they rise double, and then I bake at 350 for 25 minutes. I know that is the perfect time for me in my oven. Start there and see how your bread does. You may need more, you may need a little less, but that's a good general rule of thumb. So I bake at 350 for 25 minutes. I pull the loaves out. I let them sit in the pan for 10 minutes, and then I cool completely on a wire rack after I dump them out. So 10 minutes in the pan, dump out on a wire rack, and cool completely before you cut. I know it's hard because it smells so good and you don't want to wait, but your bread will cut so much easier when it's totally cool. So part 3 of this video will probably be tomorrow based on the timing of my day. So we'll come back for part 3. We'll talk about storing your bread. I'll show you how I cut mine and give you a couple different options and just finalize your bread journey. So I will see you guys for part 3.